Glory to the assembly. Glory to the assembly. All glory to the assembly. Glory to Shri Shri Guru and Guru.
Hare Krishna. Sister will sing the Jai Radha prayers. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Kunja Vihari Krishna Hare Krishna, thanks everybody for coming. And I'm going to give a talk today, short talk, on the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto. Can I get to just the Bhagavatam. We have a reading group during the week, and we discussed the Bhagavatam. And the Bhagavatam is considered to be, it's even the advanced stage, So seeing everybody here is very advanced, isn't that right? No. Everyone admits to being advanced. So we're going to just give this talk on the Bhagavatam. Of course, I did my usual work on the Bhagavatam, which is good. It's chapter 1, Canto 1, chapter 2, text number 70. First I'm looking for a symbol slipped away. I'll ask my great assistant and sage, Giri Daribabu. Do you know where the verse Shivata Svakata Krishna where is that verse in Bhagavatam?
It's near 1 to 18.
18, is it? Yeah, I was thinking 6, that's 18, okay. See, I told you we have very advanced people in the audience. Yeah. It's actually it's 17. So
17. Okay.
The next verse is pretty good anyway. So I'm just gonna get my glasses so I can see it. Anyway, that's not a good start because I can't find my glasses. See, he's not only a great sage, but let's have it goes wrong. So Srimata Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Rajanta Stoya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Savitsatam. Okay, is everybody ready? You have to be really attentive here. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Param Atma, that's the super soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves properly virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So Prabhupada in the purport says, messages of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna are non-different from him. Whenever therefore offenceless hearing and glorification of the Lord, offenceless hearing and glorification of the Lord are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastika declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy names with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound, but unfortunately we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees. When he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who does desire to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. Material sins are products of our desires to lord it over material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee making progress on the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment, because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial, and it takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position, and by the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind. Amiganad Vinandasya Ganajana Shalakaya Chakshun Militamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitanyena Bhutale Svayam Nabhukadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastai Bhutale Shri Mani Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sanyavadi Paschatari Shatarine Vanjakalpaturubhyascha Kripasindurevacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnadeyo Namo Namah. So I was thinking about, the class, what to speak about today, it's kind of easy sometimes just to say something, to say some words, but to actually act according to those words, that's the hard part actually. Like we may know the theory of something, this should be like this and this should be like this, but the reality sometimes doesn't always match the theory. and Prabhupada is hinting at that in the purport when he says that to become restless, and this also goes for men as well as women, you know, to become restless in the context of women and wealth is not an astonishment. The reason that's not an astonishment is that we've been in contact with those things from time immemorial, and also we've developed, the reason that we're here in the material world is because of that, because we're attached. We think that the material world offers something of that nature for us in which to enjoy, and you know, we may even want not to be, you know, completely under the sway of those things, but almost involuntarily, you know, our mind immediately goes to those things. You know, somebody saw a big bar of gold on the ground and saw maybe, you know, a piece of dirt. You know, your mind, whose mind would not go, oh, bar of gold, I want it. But actually, that's what we do, you know, because we do actually have an even greater bar of gold in the sense that we have spiritual life that's there, the whole spiritual world. Like this is the kind of the basis of it. You know, the spiritual world is there, you know. We are by nature, you know, spirit. It is actually there. The spiritual world is actually a place where we can go, where there's no birth, there's no death. Can you imagine if none of us had to die? Do you know, can you imagine that? Where there's no old age, you know, point to myself there, you know. You know, no old age, it's no fun, you know. It progressively gets worse. And no disease, you know. Can you imagine? Those things aren't there. There's not, and not only that, but it's like winning the lotto millions of times, you know. You have everything that you ever wanted is there. Now, that's kind of in terms of us. It's not, I mean, because if that was the case, all of us would say, oh, I go for that, no problem. You know, wouldn't we? You say, oh, I go for the spiritual world. Yeah, that sounds like a place. I'll forget about the material world. I want to go here. It's much better. But there's another factor involved in there as well. And that the fact is that, maybe, can I ask a question? Anyone tell me what other factor is involved which prevents us? What prevents us from going to the spiritual world and wanting to go to the spiritual world? Can I get any answers from the audience?
Attachments.
Attachments, yes, that's one. That's desires, attachments, yes. Independence, now you're getting closer, yes.
Conditionings.
What?
Conditionings.
Conditionings, yeah. So there are three things. Conditionings from previously, yes. Desires, attachments. Comforts, yeah, that's you're attached to comforts. And you said independence.
Mm-hmm.
So who are we independent from?
To enjoy the material world or anything,
Yes.
independent of Krishna, without Krishna.
Without Krishna. You see, that's the thing. That's the real basis of it.
One more.
Yeah.
Envy.
Oh God, yeah, that's right. That's another.
There are plenty of there.
Yeah. Ego, yeah. Yeah, this is the area that's preventing us actually, you know, the ego. So we might be envious of some person who has a bigger car, a bigger house, better education, more beauty. What's the source of that envy? Where's it begin from?
Insecurities.
Insecurities, yeah, insecurities is definitely there.
Our envy for Krishna's
Krishna.
opulence.
It's our envy for Krishna. That's really the basis of it, you know. And I know everyone here are very nice people, you know. I'm not going to sort of say you're not. But the fact that we're here does indicate that that's what's there, you know. So we might as well be realistic about it, you know. Because if we're realistic about it, we'll be able to actually start working on a solution. Another thing which can help us in this as well, help us in this whole equation, it's a very important one. We talked about ego and enviousness of Krishna. So there's one other thing, which
Greed.
You know, the greed is definitely there, yeah, because that's another part of the ego. The ego is greed and wants things.
That's
But there's one other good quality which is needed to be able to see these things.
realization.
Realization, yeah. But
Intelligence.
there's one particular thing I'm looking for.
Surrender.
Surrender is very good, yeah. Surrender is getting.
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection is another very good one.
Humility.
Yeah, these are all good things.
Humility.
Humility is what I'm looking for, actually.
Jai.
Yeah, it's pride stroke humility, you know, because, you know, that's really what's, you know, what's actually dictating to us what to do a lot of the time. Where, you know, we're not humble enough to see the reality, basically. We're too absorbed in ourselves, which is the ego, our independence, wanting to enjoy separately from Krishna. And even in very, you know, even when we make advancement in spiritual life, these things are there, you know. They're and the only thing that I've ever seen that has, and I'm quoting obviously from Lord Chaitanya, the Trinada Beat verse, it seems to be the only thing which can actually go against this ego, the independence and so on, is to be dependent. Somebody said surrender there as well, but is to be dependent, not independent. We're dependent, you know. Like we're dependent on so many things, you know. We're dependent on food. We're dependent on air. We're dependent that our heart will beat. We're dependent that our brain will function. There's a constant, incredible mechanism going on that we're kind of attached to this body, that we're actually, you know, that we're with, shall we say, that we're very much dependent on, you know, dependent on the air, we're dependent on the vision, the sun. So that actually helps us when we start to realize how dependent we are, you know. That really helps us with the humility part of it, you know. And you know, we might think that, okay, I'm the boss in this business, I have so many people working for me, and the material world is kind of set up like that as well. And it is there, and it kind of confuses us, really. You know, it confuses us into seeing this whole dependence that we have. Now, there is a certain aspect of us which is independent. Like you cannot, some philosophies completely try to negate that whole fact that we're independent. But this one particular thing, which is the dependence on Krishna, which actually, you know, it completely removes all of that, all those things we talked about, like desires, envy, all of those things that were there that we spoke about, which are keeping us to the material world. When we become dependent on Krishna, those things actually vanish, you know. And when we develop this other aspect, which I said was humility, you know, that according to Lord Chaitanya is what will actually give us the impetus to go to the spiritual world. You know, we cannot actually go there unless we develop this humility. And if you examine that whole verse, Trinada Pisana, it says that if you can become more humble than a tree, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of sense of false prestige, ready to offer respect unto others, one can chant the holy name constantly. That's the bonus that we get. What's the bonus that we get?
Ability to chant the holy name.
Okay, so let's say that again. The ability to
Chant the
chant
holy
the
name
holy name. No, not just chant the holy name, but chant the holy name
constantly.
constantly. That's quite amazing, isn't it? I mean, that's what we're actually working towards, to chant the holy name constantly. And what's the benefit? What is the benefit of being able to chant the holy name constantly? What do we get from it? Yeah, we purify ourselves. Yeah, or so. What else is what other benefit is it? Say again? Clarinetis. Yes, yeah. So these are two big things that we get from chanting. There's one other thing there.
the ability to,
connected to Krishna more. That was, yeah.
do you have a love of Godhead?
Yeah, the love of God. Krishna is non-different from his name. You know, it's actually non-different. And that's one of the things which absolutely completely separates in one sense you could say, but probably makes more significant this philosophy than many. And it's not a philosophy, it's a fact that Krishna is non-different from his name. The whole person that we're dependent on, the whole person that we're offering all these things to, and is actually there in the sound of the holy name. You know, that's a total game changer. You know, that changes everything, because we have an opportunity to be with God. We're not in a hazy position about who God is. You know, I mean, that is a very easy thing to have. Who's God? If I ask anybody here, who's God? Can anyone tell me? Who's God? Krishna is God, yes. And okay, who is Krishna?
The Supreme Personality.
Supreme Personality, very good. Yeah, what?
Creation of the world.
It's what?
Creation of the world.
Creation, yeah. Yeah, that's another, yes. Okay, now we're getting there.
Your conscience.
Our conscience. Mm-hmm. But that comes to what we're talking about, the super soul that's in our heart, that's in everybody's heart. And this is another magnificent thing that we find about Krishna. It's the same Krishna that's in everybody's heart. It's in Mayur's heart, it's in my heart, it's in Giridhar's heart, you know. It's the same Krishna is there. Can you imagine that? How merciful is that? You know, that God didn't completely just make us or create us or something like that, or we're part of God and suddenly just forgets about us. He never, ever, ever leaves us. And that's an incredible aspect of Krishna. And so there's two things, right? He's there in our heart, and he's non-different from his name. So this is how we can actually start to go to the spiritual world. You know, if we realize those two things, that Krishna is non-different from his name. So if he's non-different from his name, what should we do? And how should we chant? Oh, yes, that's even better. I was looking for constantly, but attentively and constantly, actually. Hands up here, everybody who chants. Okay, I won't say attentively, but chants constantly. Jai! We have one person who does. Okay, I won't put you on the spot now. But it is not an easy thing to do. Why is it not an easy thing to do?
Distraction.
Distraction, exactly. Distraction and what we said earlier, attachment. We're attached to other things, basically. That's why we don't do that. Because I mean, we're told, we're given 100 million lottos in one, and that's, you know, Krishna is in his name, and still we find other things to get distracted by. You know, it's quite incredible. But the glory of the Krishna consciousness movement, as begun by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is that he tries to congregate us together and chant together, and in that way we can get some realization of Krishna. But what we were doing there, exactly, we were trying to understand all the different aspects, how we're dependent on Krishna and who Krishna is. So we said he's a creator, he's also the greatest, what else is he great at? Krishna. He's the greatest lover as well. He loves all of us, doesn't he? So that's pretty amazing. He's the most wealthy.
Most attractive.
Most attractive. Yeah. Six.
Masters of six.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we actually, as a group of devotees, do. You know, we start to enumerate all Krishna's qualities. Because that's a big help as well, because unfortunately we are kind of like competitors for Krishna, you know. We are actually competing to be like Krishna in that sense. And it's our distraction is taken by those two things too. You know. But if we spend our time talking about how great Krishna is, then we will start to also simultaneously start to understand who we are. You know, because that's the reason why why the independence is good, but the independence is bad. Because the independence, if it's full of ego, it's not going to think very much beyond itself. So we have to get to that situation of humility, that we're very tiny. That's the thing which is preventing us from actually experiencing this bonanza of lottos. I'm using that's just one thing I'm using. Don't worry about it. We don't gamble, by the way, just in case anyone thinks. But that's the thing that prevents us from getting in touch with that. And what all of you here are doing is, hearing. The nature of the hearing gets even more profound when we add a little bit thing to it. It's in the next verse. It says, Nashta prayesh vibhajeshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati itimasoke bhakti bhagavati naistiki. And that says, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, I love this last part, is established as an irrevocable fact. What does irrevocable mean?
Cannot be lost.
Means what?
Irreversible.
Irreversible, very good. Yes. It's there for all time. That's just something permanent. We don't know many things which are permanent in this world, but that is established as an irrevocable fact. That's the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna saying that, So what do we have to do that? By regular attendance. Yeah. And also by chanting and by taking prasadam. So this temple is set up for those things, just so people can come here, chant Hare Krishna, hear from the scripture, and eat prasadam. That's why we have temples, and of course worship the deities as well. Obviously as well. But there's also on our side, because when I joined the Hare Krishna movement, everybody who became a member of the Hare Krishna movement, they lived in the temple. We all lived in the temple. How many people here are living in the temple? There's nobody. None of us are. And the benefit of living in the temple was that you were constantly absorbed, in hearing and chanting, and doing service and doing seva. And it was amazing, It was an amazing thing. Now it's not easy. That also doesn't happen so easily, because it's quite purifying. It's like you're taking a heavy shot of whatever. I don't know how to put it, but the medicine. You're taking a very heavy dose of the medicine, and it acts quickly. It acts very quickly. So, what happens when you do take this heavy medicine? Anyone know? You become
Purified.
purified. Yes, purified. Pious. Yeah, that's and absorbed. But I tell you what happens is that a lot of the things that are in the heart that you didn't know were there actually start to come out.
Yes.
Some of the things which you don't want it to be there, but which are actually there, from conditioning. We were mentioning that before. From previous karma start to manifest, and kind of have to deal with it. The way to deal with it, obviously, is what we're saying, is hearing and chanting, and that's about the only thing that because I was thinking about what to talk about today, because that's one of the only things I can say. Hearing and chanting. I'm trying to explain why, because we're hearing more about Krishna. So our ego goes down and our understanding of Krishna goes up. That's the main basis of it. So, but we have to be also aware that other things are there too, which are preventing us. So when we're living outside, then it's that little bit more difficult. Prabhupada said that though you can, when you're living outside, keep a very solid program in your house. You know, align with different devotees who are doing things in this world, because we need strength. We need strength actually to develop. And we get strength in numbers. You know, we get strength in numbers by practicing together. So, just to summarize a little bit of what I've spoken about so far, that the spiritual world is there. We want to go there. Krishna is in his name. We've struck it lucky. We're you know, attached to the name. We understand how great Krishna is. That reduces our own false ego, or sense of ego, or false ego, and we start to hear more about Krishna. Okay, they're the things that we've established so far. So, I'm just asking: has anybody got any questions in their own practice or something which? I have one question. Okay. Ashmi.
We are not able to chant, and
Okay.
we are chanting, but our mind is not wholeheartedly into the name, but we are chanting. Let's say we finish the round.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes they say if you take the medicine, so even though you are not thinking about the medicine will work. So will the holy name work, or it will not work?
Does everyone hear that question? Basically, the holy name, that's is like the medicine that we need to take. But the difficulty when we're chanting is that we don't do it attentively. We're chanting and we're thinking of the political situation in Gaza, or we're thinking of, you know, what I have to do tomorrow when I get into work, how will, you know, what I'm going to have for my next meal, whatever it is, it distracts us basically. Is chanting working anyway? That's what you're asking.
Is there
But
any benefit?
is there any benefit? Okay.
We stop, we should not chant at all, and when
Yeah.
our mind is, you know,
Okay.
I
So
think we should stop.
yeah, should we chant at all? Because if the mind is there any point? Well, first of all, hands up anybody who chants here, you know, regularly at home. Just give a hand. And anybody who chants Hare Krishna at home on beads. Yeah, that's good. And how attentive is your chanting? Can everybody tell me what the degree of your attentiveness? What's Gojal Prabhu? What's your attention level?
I'm still trying.
Still
Not yet.
trying. Okay, that's good. That's good. Anybody else?
Sometimes fully attentive, sometimes partially attentive.
Okay, sometimes fully, sometimes partially. Yeah. That tends to be the case. Manav, what did you say?
Same.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, every time I lose the focus.
Yes.
But every time I need to pay attention, but
Yeah.
it keeps deflecting.
The mind is like flickering.
Yeah.
So, according to one of the biggest authorities is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and this is the point. We should actually keep on chanting, you know, no matter what. We shouldn't stop. You know, from the imperfection, perfection will come about. You know, it's the cure for inattentive chanting is to chant more. The chanting, I'd be able to answer this question better if I chanted more myself. I try to chant more than the amount, my prescribed amount, and I try to chant it as attentively as I can, which is early in the morning, preferably, and all at one time if possible. You know, it's difficult when during the day you're kind of dividing it up. Sometimes you have to, because of job or whatever, you have to do it. But we should be always working to try to make the chanting the most important part of our day. You know, because then because that's the real priority. Because I mean, I'm talking about most of us are working for money, aren't we? You know, we have a specific vocation sometimes, which is great, and we can align that with the money that we're making. That's even better. But in general, it comes down to it. Most people, if they were asked, "Do you want to go to work?" they probably say, "Well, yeah, okay. Is there any other alternative?" You know. But I think that if we try to prioritize the most important thing, you know, we will, and that's what we're here to try to do, is to try to prioritize that, you know, to find out what is this priority, and that's why I'm kind of harping on this, that the chanting for us, if we want to go to the spiritual world, this is the most important thing to do. And it doesn't matter whether you're 2, 20, 50, 70, it's the same thing for everybody. The earlier you start, the better it is. You know, if you can start, that's why we can have gurukuls with that in mind. But it doesn't matter if you're 70 and you start, that's also good. Krishna's non-different from his name, so Krishna can do anything. Okay, so thank you for that question. So that the answer is this: that keep on chanting, and more chanting produces pure chanting eventually. But we have to remain attentive as well. We have to work on being attentive.
Thank you. I had something in mind as well. It's maybe a more philosophical question. But I was wondering if when we want to come to the material world, it is to be what we are not, to experience something that we are by nature not, if it can be put that way.
Mm. You mean before we came here, in other words, or?
Because since here we are in a body which is not in actually.
But that which is not.
Yeah, so gross body, subtle body, and none of them is us.
Yeah.
And like what we're doing is not really
it's dictated by nature.
Yes, and it's just not our spiritual
Mm.
nature. So, but we still want to be here. Does it mean that actually if we just turn the terms of the equation, we came here because we want to be what we are not? We want to be in a position that to experience something that we're not supposed to be.
Yeah, the question is, why did we make that choice, you know, to be something that we're not, coming here in the material world? What was the reason? Why did we, you know, where did that desire come from, I suppose? Is that, would that mean, or?
Well, yeah.
You know.
What, for instance?
I'd say a better question even would be, why are we still desiring, you know, to be what we're not, you know, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. You know, it's like, it's a real an enigma. One way I find that it can be answered is that as you go on in Krishna consciousness, something I said there was that, you know, you find out things that you didn't know were in yourself, you know, and that they're called anarthas, or unwanted things. They're deep down material desires, basically, which possibly was enacted by our karma, because something that we did ourselves for many lifetimes ago or whatever. We enacted some desires which dug us deeper into the mire. So when we get more purified from those things, from those deep desires, we start to experience more positively who we actually are, and then we get much more impetus then to be that person, and we don't ask that question as much. It becomes less relevant to us why we did that, because the feeling is just so positive and so energetically in touch with Krishna that it's like, it's a loving feeling, you know, and that's what makes it so different. Like when I'm using these examples like lottos, but like, you know, there's nothing to, you know, it's real love of God is what we're after, and what we experience, and that's what's available here. I mean, everybody here knows we all need relationships, you know, in the material world. It's something that we hanker for. We hanker for harmonious relationships. All of us. We hate it when we've said something wrong and somebody else misunderstands it and then takes it up the wrong way and then starts to think in a certain way about us, you know. It's such a drag. They say, no, let's go back to the start. No, I didn't mean that. No, yes, you did. You meant that. You know, and maybe we didn't mean it. You know, because even our anarthas are just coming out in relationships. Relationships can be very purifying as well. You know, it's one of the ways in which we can purify ourselves here in this world too. You know, through relationships, but the main relationship, the ultimate relationship, is the relationship with God, with Krishna, because he's the supreme source. And this is the point that we forget. We forget this a lot of the time. Even when we're chanting, we forget it, you know. And this is why we get distracted. And this is why I'm trying to blow up, like for myself, not for anybody else, but the importance of the holy name. Who the holy name is, it's not different from Krishna. We have got this relationship with Krishna here. And we've only got a tiny little percentage. You know when you've got on your phone, and there's only 1% left, you know? You feel very insecure. You're trying to ring up somebody and 1% left and suddenly, it's gone. Well, something like that is our relationship with Krishna. We've only got 1% in our battery. So we better plug in and get more in that battery, you know, so that we can see and experience Krishna more. Because when we do that, then there's no problem. All the problems start to vanish. You know, they're just as like it said, another thing that Bhaktivinoda Thakur said about the holy name is that even the shadow of the holy name can remove all obstacles. You know, it can remove all. I forget what it is now. But it removes basically. It's like for instance at the dawn, right? You know, you don't see the sun, you can't see the sun, but suddenly things get bright, so you know that the sun is there. So in the same way, even a shadow of the holy name is like that. You know, the darkness is removed. So by the constant chanting, we're getting more of an experience of Krishna, and when that grows, when that actually grows, all the ignorance is removed, you know, and we can see things clearly. So it's kind of a longer answer in that sense to the question. Thank you for it. Thank you. Anything else anyone wants to bring out? Yeah.
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask that, you know, how ego can be differentiated as good or bad. For example, if somebody is humble, they have a lot of humility in them and they have a lot of love towards others, but at the same time, they love to show off their materialistic things, and you know they love to take the materialistic pleasures. You know, what does it mean? Is it good or is it bad?
No, you can't fake humility. It's just it's one of those things that you know you cannot. It becomes apparent. Like you might say that I have so many things, or you know I'm a very nice person, and that see, Krishna's very clever. He's the most clever. Even when you take the spiritual life and you start wearing these vestments and so on, you know, you kind of think that you're a spiritual person, you know, because look at I'm dressed like that. And but you're tested, you know, because you can't go to the spiritual world if you have loads of pride and things. It's just not there. The only currency there is humility, is realizing that Krishna is the supreme and we're not the supreme. So maybe ask your question again, maybe I didn't catch
So
it.
my question was, usually we see that pride and ego
Yeah.
and goes hand in hand with not being humble. But
Yeah.
if someone is proud of things, if someone likes to show off their things, and
Yeah.
if someone likes to enjoy the material pleasures, but at the same time they are humble to others, they are loving towards others, does that happen? And what are the consequences? Is it a real thing or not? Basically,
It doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound like it's real. You can be proud of certain things, like you might be proud of doing something nicely if you have the right mentality of doing it. You might be in work and you might be a good a medical person and you do it really nicely, or you look after people nicely or whatever. But if you're doing that in the right mentality as a service, then that's fine. You can be proud in that way that you're doing it nicely for Krishna. But if you're doing it like cause I'm just humble to this person because it's a good thing to do and people will think good of me because that I'm a humble person.
yeah.
That's not going to work. That's not just. And we're constantly caught out in that. And these are the things, because this is what happens, you see. When you start practicing spiritual life at the beginning, you start thinking, oh yes, I have to be humble. I have to be humble. And you start being the most humble, which is a contradiction in terms. You can't be the most humble because you're not, and that can take a long time to get rid of that. I'm a good devotee,
So maybe
I'm one of the best devotees,
Actually, Prabhuji, I was just asking then maybe does that mean that they are feeding their own ego instead
Unfortunately.
again?
Unfortunately, yeah. It will mean that, yes. And but it's very hard to see that for somebody else because we don't absolutely always know what's going on. But we should be expert at seeing that in ourselves, because we can. This is the one thing I can say. We can guarantee that is our own position. We can guarantee it 100%. We're doing that. Each one of us is doing that. And the real benefit, if we can do that, if we can actually, work on that properly ourselves, and it can be of actual benefit to somebody else. Even if we do spot it in somebody else, we can't do anything about it. But if we can do something about it in ourselves, then we actually can do something about it for them too. It's trickily set up by Krishna, but he wants genuine humility. Good question. Anyone else wants to ask anything else?
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So my question is like, while chanting, what should come inside your mind? Like, so when I'm chanting, my mind will be bombarded with thoughts like what I want to eat, what I'm going to do today, yesterday what I did. There'll be some thought which would have happened ages ago, but that will pop while chanting, So what should, while chanting, what should come inside the mind?
Well, I hate to say it, but that's a good start. First of all, is to recognize those things that are going on. That's a big start. That is a big start, Now, what you should replace it, what should be there instead, from what my mentors tell me anyway, is that, which I actually have experienced as well to some degree, is that there's a softening in the heart, and when one is calling out to Krishna, one is actually genuinely feeling something for Krishna. It might be for the deity form of Krishna, it might be for just the name of Krishna, it might be, but the personality of Krishna is there. That's the thing. Krishna is actually there. Now, just like you're there, I can see you here now, right in front of me, and you know, I recognize you, and you know, we've interacted on quite a few occasions, many occasions, and there's a kind of a niceness in the reciprocation, you know, we've done Seva together and so on. So it's a very nice thing, you know. But that same way that Krishna is also there in the same way, he's right there too. But we're kind of missing seeing him initially. So the more we can fill our head with thinking and understanding that Krishna is actually there in his name. And that's the way I found that happening, is by hearing about descriptions about Krishna, about what he does. You know, and this whole Vaishnava Sampradaya is like, it's totally scientific. It is 100% scientific. You know, all you have to do is actually apply it in your life, and it works. More so than I've seen in many systems of religion, spiritual systems that I've studied. And it gives us direct access to the Supreme Personality of God. Direct. There's no doubt about it. And when we hear more about Krishna, we just become absolutely full, you know. Like most people, for instance, when they hear the Mahabharata or the Ramayana, it's slightly different, but the Mahabharata thing, and you know, you're hearing about this one person or about all these different activities, you become absorbed. You know, 10th canto Bhagavatam and beyond is, you get totally absorbed in what the Supreme Personality is doing, his activities, his name, form, qualities, and pastimes. And that's enough to absorb you for millions of lifetimes. It's completely fulfilled. It gets to this stage that you don't want to actually, you cannot get back into the material world anymore. You know, it becomes the opposite. At the moment, we can't get into the spiritual world because we're too much still attached to the material world. But we are actually so attached to the spiritual world that we can't force them. These devotees, they find it difficulty. These advanced, they find it difficult to even think about normal material things. So it gets to that stage that you're so absorbed in the spiritual dimension. That is required. That is what we're aiming for. But so initially, answering the question really is that we find out more about Krishna. We find out who this incredible personality is. We constantly hear about him. We constantly, discuss, just like we're discussing now. We discuss the scriptures. We spend our time, as much as I was saying that I picked this up because we have once a week we have this discussion on the Bhagavatam, and this is where we are at the moment. And it's only for now. And I know there's several other people who do that, and we're actually aiming to have it for this temple. We have a Bhagavatam class every morning, and that's the reason for it. Is that because that's the whole reason for the temple, is that we discuss these things. Because once Krishna, once it takes root in our heart, because we know Krishna's in our heart, right? So once it takes root there, it's just going to spread like anything. It's going to spread like anything. Prabhupada always said that there's one thing which can stop it spreading. Anybody know what that is? What can stop it spreading? Yeah.
Is it like problems within the community?
Yeah. Because it's called offenses. In the morning time we chant the 10 offenses of chanting, so that we kind of try to, and anyone who aims to be a Vaishnava should carefully guard against any of these offenses in order to quickly attain the desired result, Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema is pretty advanced. It's where we're thinking about Krishna all the time. Nothing but thinking about Krishna. The reason I'm saying that is that we need to be in touch with devotees who are on that platform or are coming to that platform, or any devotee who's more advanced than us. We need to be in touch with those people. And the reason is, anybody give me the reason why that is? Why do we need to be in touch?
Association is very important.
Yes, yes. What is the tangible result of it? That's true, but there's something else which is there.
We can also improve ourselves.
That's definitely, we can improve. I'll tell you why. And this is where humility comes into it. What? Nourished. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
The qualities will come.
Yes,
They push us.
because they're giving us the qualities. And this is why, this is why we have to be humble in that sense. That this is the reason. That because we have to understand that somebody's more advanced than us, and that's where the ego comes in, unfortunately. Especially in the initial stages, it's there. It's and we shouldn't be discovering that in everybody else. We have to discover that in ourselves. Yeah. That's sterling work for the community. That's the best thing that anybody can do for their community, is to pick out the dirty things in your heart. No one else wants them. No one else even knows about them, but I know. Sorry, I'm going to be a little bit, what do you call this? Non-politically correct here. Sometimes people say that, it's very important. It's very important to actually know this. Actually, I want to qualify this. What are the loving exchanges between devotees? Can anybody tell me what that is? What are the loving exchanges? I won't ask you. So someone say? Yes, they're very good. So maybe in English, just say what they are.
Giving gifts.
Giving gifts and accepting gifts. Giving prasada and accepting prasada. Now the third one is what I'm getting at.
Asking.
Yes. Revealing the mind and inquiring confidentially. In that situation, now this is very important. I was saying to you, no one wants your dirty things or whatever in the heart. I'm talking about myself here, by the way. But we do need to speak to people confidentially sometimes. We do need to have a mentor. Somebody who we can discuss things with. This is a practical application of the philosophy, in that there are mentors there to discuss things with, and this has to be confidential as well. I've seen sometimes in communities somebody has revealed themselves to somebody, and the next minute everybody knows about it. It's a disaster. It's anyway. I don't want to go into negative things, but this is very important in our communities, because the communities are which will make or break us. If we're blessed, if we get the blessings of the senior Vaishnavas, we will be able to have solid, strong communities in which our young people can grow, in which they can actually attain all these wonderful qualities. And there's lots of things you can say about it, but maybe before I go on, I just want to go back to that point. So, well, is there any other question? Any other questions anymore? Okay, I'll just get back to that point, is that this information is given to us. That's why the association of senior people is important. Because everything else in the world, you can go to the university and study. You can be a top doctor, top this. You can not be a top doctor, not be a top this. All of these things you can learn. But this bhakti is given. It's given by someone else. It's given by somebody who's better than us. They're not. Listen, another thing. They're not proud. They don't think, oh, I'm better than this person. there's different ways in which different devotees associate. And that doesn't, as I said to you earlier, it's a science. The more that we can actually become expert in the science, the more that we can be very good in this community. The more that we will be able to help people. Because, to be honest, we're all hopeless cases. We've taken birth in Kali Yuga. What worse could you get? It's the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And we've chosen to come here. But the holy name and all that comes with the holy name is which can actually, Lord Chaitanya came specifically for that, is to transform Kali Yuga into a golden age. He's the golden avatar, Gauranga, the golden living one. So,
Prabhuji, what were the two words you said? Hypocrisy and?
Quarrel.
Quarrel as in argument.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And I always it actually the quarrel is going on inside ourselves. It's quite we misunderstand many things, and that's part of Kali Yuga. We can. It's something which is just inherent in the atmosphere, and worse still is that it's full of one specifically horrific thing, and it is what we're constantly trying to work with, and it's said about this faithlessness. I'd like to ask you another question. Many people here, could you tell me if their mother, grandmother, or great-grandmother were religious? Can anybody put up their hand? No. It's interesting, isn't it? That has a profound effect on the coming generations. But it has one negative side. The negative side is that therefore you think that, okay, I'm automatically religious now. I don't have to do anything. One thing we meet a lot is that, would you like to take a Bhagavad Gita? Oh, I know all about Krishna. I know my grandmother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, I hear this a lot, but unless, and then I generally follow that up with, I'm not trying to embarrass you. So what's the goal of Bhagavad Gita? And the answer I get nearly always is, just do your duty, just do your duty, just do your duty. That's generally the answer. Now, again, I'm not anything here, but I'm saying that it means that people think that it's already done, but it's not. Nasta prayesh vabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. We need to study this every day, because the whole atmosphere is suffused with. I said it earlier. Faithlessness. And don't think we're not affected by it. We're affected by everything. Everything. We walk out on the street there and we're just walking by pennies and we're going like, yes, and go further down the street and it's, I don't think I'll go for a coffee today, or whatever, It's constant, it's non-stop, and that's another symptom of Kali Yuga, and we're surrounded by it, and we every day. This is why we can't be attentive on chanting. Every day we have to fight this because we're in the worst of places. It said it's the worst of ages, and it's the
Worst of places.
It's the best of ages. Do you know why that is? Why? We can go back to God just by chanting. Yes. Yeah. Because in previous ages, people used to have to go up the top of mountains, and meditate for literally thousands of years. Now we're in the worst position because we're in Kali Yuga, but we're in the best position because we've got the holy name. But we have to struggle, you know. And the price of the Krishna consciousness is, anyone tell me?
Lolly.
Lolyam, our desire to have it. You know, that's the price. You know, that is the price. How much can we fend off all the things that are stopping us, you know? There's fakeness coming all the time. When the mind gets just, see, it's distraction. When the mind gets distracted, you know, we have to bring it back. Krishna says, bring it back under the control of the higher self. I wish you could remember that verse, but there was a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says that. You know, wherever the mind wanders due to the flickering nature, one should bring it back under the control of the higher self. And the higher self, you know what the higher self is as well? The higher self is the instructions coming down in Parampara. You know, it's the instructions we get from our teachers. That's very important man as well. You know, the instructions getting them from the teachers there. Like one thing which I have to, and which Giri was talking about, which I find very, very effective. I regularly, if not constantly, listen to tapes by my spiritual mentors. You know, I do spend quite a lot of time, and of course Srila Prabhupada as well. You know, very early on, I try to listen to. You know, I try to listen. I'm up to March. All the tapes that he's ever. You know, I'm up to March. I mean, I've heard quite a few in the past, but I'm doing it systematically now, and I find that's incredible because you're getting insights from people. You're getting insights from Prabhupada, which is he's the Parivrajacharya, the most, you know, Srila Prabhupada is the founder of Acharya. I cannot, you know, speak to the degree that I should to glorify Srila Prabhupada. But his disciples also, and we say all glories to Guru and Gauranga, you know, and Jaya Guru Day. These devotees are following the footsteps of Prabhupada, and they've imbibed the message of Prabhupada. And the whole parampara is coming through these devotees. So I regularly listen to different guides like that, and I find at different times, different ones are extremely helpful. And maybe someone would, you know, who I consider, I have Diksha Guru and Shiksha Gurus. So this is what actually protects, I find is protecting, because the mind is, so many things happening, so much influence, so what do you do? Bombard it with spiritual sound vibration. You know, just stock up on the spiritual data, you know, put in the spiritual data into the machine. And just keep on. And then, you know, and this is another thing to be in the communities, then we discuss these things and we invite them. And we have one such sage coming to us in November. It's actually another sage coming on the 18th here. What Sunday is it? What day is today? It's the 6th, isn't it? 6th, 13th, 20th. 20th of October, we have one of Srila Prabhupada's most advanced daughters in Krishna consciousness. She was with Prabhupada almost continuously for about 5 years. Her name is Nishaka Devi Dasi, and she's going to be giving a talk here. And I don't know, I even of all the Prabhus and the Matajis who give talks, I find her probably one of the most profound. You know, so she will be here in two weeks' time. So be sure and hear from her. Ask questions, you know, keep churning. And then we have another Prabhu coming in November. Anybody know who that is? His name is Keshava Swami. Yeah. He's coming here for 3 days, 21 to 23, which is Thursday, Friday, and he's leaving on Saturday evening. So he won't be here for a Sunday. So, he's a very unbelievable speaker, actually. So these are opportunities for us to hear from these devotees, you know, and really use the opportunity to the maximum. Because just It's said by a moment's association with some of these devotees, our whole life can change. And that's like very practical. It can mean that our attention is very strong in the holy name. Just by hearing these devotees, like we can worship the deity better. We can, those 5 items, we can chant Hare Krishna better, we can read better. Just by associating with these people, this is what we get from that. And then we also can help and give that to others as well. So the community's all, and the only thing that can stop that is offenses in chanting. So, and that's also kind of another kind of thing from the false ego. Okay, so I don't know if there's any other last question and point. Otherwise we can say Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Srimad Prabhupada Jai. So now the next part of the program is that we can all stand up and we have the arti. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Babaji. Yes, Babaji. Yes, Babaji. Yes, Babaji. Okay. Is it okay? No. That one's called I'm taking to the airport on Tuesday. Bring the big car and the small car. Is that right? Very good.
जय श्री Namaho Vishnu Padme Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Krishna 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 Everyone can go down to offer donations to the Lordship. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरश श्री श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरश श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की रामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से गाओ जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभुपाद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कुंड विगुणधाम धाम की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की नवदीप श्री मायापुर धाम की श्री क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री गंगा माई यमुना माई की श्री भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की सामवेद गौर भक्तवृंद की गौर प्रेमानंद all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga all glories to Srila Prabhupada की जय
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय गौर हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for attending the Sunday festival today. So downstairs in Govinda restaurants we will have now Prashadam. So everyone can go downstairs for Prashadam.
Mahaprasad. महाप्रसादे गोविंदे
महाप्रसादे गोविंदे
नाम ब्राह्मणे वैष्णवे सर्वपुण्यं पदं राजन् विश्वासुने प्रजायते
मदद करनी है नीचे से सामान वाले जाना है कुछ